Krasheninnikov Volcano Eruption after massive earthquake in Russia. Alert. A long dormant giant has awoken. In an event stirring both scientific intrigue and public debate, Russia's Krasheninnikov volcano, silent for centuries, has erupted after being jolted by a colossal magnitude 8.8 earthquake on July 29, 2025. This unforeseen eruption, occurring less than 150 miles from the quake's epicenter, offers a dramatic twist in our understanding of how seismic shocks can initiate volcanic activity. On August 3rd, early in the morning local time, the once quiet slopes of Krasheninnikov started emitting a towering plume of ash and gas that ascended nearly 4 miles into the sky. Situated on the sparsely populated Kamchatka Peninsula within the Kronotsky Nature Reserve, this volcano is one of 8 active volcanoes along the eastern Kamchatka volcanic arc. Local observers reported the surprising signs of an awakening. Ash, steam, and gas were seen escaping its slopes, details that were later confirmed by an official notice posted on the Nature Reserve's website. Historically, Krasheninnikov has been a subject of fascination. Scientists have documented 31 confirmed eruptions during the Holocene epoch, which began around 11,700 years ago. The last known eruption of this giant dates back to roughly 1550, according to records maintained by the Smithsonian Institution's Global Volcanism Program. Although the volcano's remote location minimizes any direct threat to populated areas, the event has rekindled discussions about the potential triggers of volcanic eruptions. But here's where it gets controversial. While it is well established that large earthquakes can occasionally provoke volcanic eruptions, this typically only happens when the volcano is already on the brink of erupting due to high internal pressure and ample magma. The U.S. Geological Survey supports this notion. Yet debate persists over whether the July 29th earthquake was merely the final push necessary for Krasheninnikov's activity, or if other geological factors were also in play. Adding another layer to the story. Volcano erupts after massive earthquake. Kamchatka Peninsula on high alert. Mother Nature just threw a 1-2 punch at Russia's Far East. First a record-shattering earthquake, then a volcano that hasn't roared in 4 centuries. And some scientists are whispering a question that could rewrite textbooks. Did the quake literally squeeze the magma out of the mountain? But here's where it gets controversial. Early on Sunday, 3rd August 2025, the Krasheninnikov volcano, nestled inside the remote Kronotsky Nature Reserve on the Kamchatka Peninsula, exploded to life. For the first time since at least the early 1600s, fountains of glowing rock and ash lit up the pre-dawn sky, sending a plume of volcanic gas and pulverized rock soaring to 27,000 feet, about 8.2 kilometers. That towering column triggered the highest aviation alert level, code red, before forecasters dialed it back to orange. Translation for travelers. Planes can still fly, but pilots must treat the airspace like a minefield of abrasive ash that can sandblast windshields and stall jet engines in mid-flight. And this is the part most people miss. The volcano sits only 230 kilometers, 143 miles, north of the epicenter of the magnitude 8.8 earthquake that hammered the same region on the 30th of July. That quake, already ranked among the 10 strongest ever instrumentally recorded, sent tsunami sirens screaming from Tokyo to Honolulu. Yet the waves that finally arrived were surprisingly modest, leaving researchers scratching their heads and sparking a lively debate. Why did a quake almost as powerful as the 2011 Tohoku disaster produce only a fraction of the wave energy? Now the plot thickens. Harold Tobin, director of the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network and a leading voice in geohazards research, told NPR that the timing of the eruption is either the most dramatic coincidence of the decade or the smoking gun that big earthquakes can tickle sleeping giants. Tobin is quick to add that the quake didn't cause the eruption in a simple domino fall sense. Instead, picture a bottle of champagne already warmed and agitated. The seismic waves racing through the crust may have jostled tiny cracks inside the volcano, just enough to uncork the pressure. In other words, The mountain was primed. The earthquake merely pulled the trigger. For residents, what few there are in this sparsely populated wilderness, the reserve's acting director, Vsevolod Yakovlev, says evacuation routes are open and no communities are currently at risk. Still, the reserve staff have been relocated as a precaution, and geologists are watching for secondary eruptions that could hurl ash even higher than the first blast. So, is this a freak alignment of tectonic roulette? Or are we witnessing a newly discovered link between megaquakes and volcanic awakenings? Could future earthquake forecasts also need to include eruption warnings hundreds of kilometers away? Drop your take below. Do you buy the coincidence theory, or are we underestimating how tightly Earth's systems are wired together?